Howdy. My opinion on Transformers outside of the movies doesn't really exist. I mean, G1 Transformers, I think it's good. Transformers Beast Wars, I think it's good. Transformers Animated, I think it's good. Transformers Prime, I think it's good. That's about where it begins and ends, though. I don't really have any details on what I really liked about the shows or anything I disliked about them. I really couldn't tell you. They don't really leave that much of an impression on me. And maybe it's because I was never just into Transformers like that. And here we have the Michael Bay films where opinions may vary. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that first Transformers movie, I think is pretty good. I mean, yeah, it comes with your typical Michael Bay negatives, like an overabundance of shenanigans and obnoxious characters and whatnot, but I don't know. The robots are cool enough in that one, and I do like Shia LaBeouf, and I do like Megan Fox, so I guess that movie worked a little bit. One movie that absolutely did not work at all, though, was Revenge of the Fallen. I mean, talk about obnoxious characters, a nonsensical script. I mean, look, when Shia LaBeouf asked, "Why are we in Egypt?" I was sitting there like, I don't think the writers know why we're in Egypt. Dark of the Moon isn't as abysmal as a couple of the other sequels, but it's still a pretty big mess. It's only saved by the fact that the last hour of the movie is absolutely fucking insane. Some of the best action you've probably ever seen in a movie, but it's just that it comes with an hour and a half of regular schmegula Michael Bay bullshit, so is it even worth it? Now, I don't know what the hell Age of Extinction was. I mean, that was just... what the fuck? That one was kind of insulting, mostly because it was just boring as fuck. I didn't know a movie could be so loud and so boring. Well, hold my beer, says Michael Bay, because The Last Night was even louder, even more ridiculous, and probably the longest one, or was that one of the shorter ones? I don't even remember, but it put me to sleep. I remember that. I looked it up, and The Last Night is actually shorter than Age of Extinction, Dark of the Moon, and Revenge of the Fallen. So how did it put me to sleep still? Now, all my bitching set to the side, I did enjoy Bumblebee with Haley Steinfeld. I thought that was pretty charming. Now, I didn't think it was the greatest thing ever. It is kind of just E.T. with Transformers, but I still enjoyed it. I found a lot to like about it. So I was hoping that we would get a sequel to that movie, maybe stay in that world that they were building so well, or no, we're going to go back to the same Transformers well and just keep milking that cow until it has nothing left, even though it hasn't really had much left for the past couple movies. I guess, bro, but I'm not going to lie. Paramount has been advertising the shit out of this one. I mean, they got a teaser trailer, an official trailer, a final trailer. This thing is playing before most of the movies I've seen this year. So you know what? I'll bite. What is in this movie that y'all want us to see so bad? Other than a gigantic spoiler at the very end of the movie, not much. And hey, look, I don't even want to come off like that. Is this movie decent? It actually is. With my very, very, very low expectations for Transformers movies, I found myself enjoying this movie just fine. But whether you like this movie, hate this movie, love this movie, or are indifferent towards it, you have to admit, it's not that different from the Michael Bay films. But we'll get into that. What's the story? Well, we in like 1994, and we got this dude, and he with his like mom, and he with his like little brother, and they like struggling because this man used to be in the military, but then he effed up because there's family stuff going on. So then he get discharged, and now he can't get a job. And like, I felt for dude, and I thought Anthony Ramos was good in the role. And then, you know what I'm saying, we got Dominic Fishback over here. She working at the museum or something, and she and at the museum or whatever, they come across this like artifact that's like connected to the Cybertron people. So then, you know, they get entangled in all the Transformers nonsense, and here we go. I mean, I know I could go into much more detail about the story for this thing, but I don't feel like I have to. The plot is not that deep. It's not that different from the other Transformers movies. We're all chasing a thing because this thing, if it falls into the villain's hands, is going to be catastrophic and the world's going to get eaten by a big nigga in the sky. It's like, it feels like I've seen this a kabillion times, so I'm just not really invested. Now, is the movie enjoyable? Yes. It is. I like Anthony Ramos in the main role. I like Dominic Fishback, even though a couple of her scenes I thought were a little too awkward for me. Who doesn't love Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and, seeing robots transform into cars and beat the shit out of each other? I liked Pete Davidson as Mirage. I thought he was actually a scene stealer, even though sometimes the dialogue, not just for him, but for everyone, is abysmal. And this is part of what I mean when I say that this movie isn't that different from the Michael Bay films. When you look at it at its core, when you look at the story, when you look at the humor, when you look at the overabundance of characters, it's all problems that stem from the Michael Bay films. The only thing is, they're not as egregious here. With the Michael Bay films, at first the action was cool enough to, let it slide, but eventually the bad stories, the horrible writing, the bad dialogue, it starts to pile up. The obnoxious characters from film to film to film, so many characters that you don't care about, so many characters that you wish would just get their head cut off at any point in the film, because at least that would end some of the suffering of watching them do nothing. So many of these fucking movies have these characters do nothing. So much badness in the Michael Bay films drag those movies down. And this film, in Rise of the Beast, those problems are not nearly as egregious, but we're just kind of left with the action now. And I don't think the action is cool enough anymore to carry it. I think we've seen too many cool movies. And I think we've seen too many of these movies. I think we've seen too many Transformers movies for this to still be wowing us. It's not that amazing to look at. I mean, yeah, it looks cool. I commend the visual effects artists. I know they worked their blood, sweat, and tears into this shit. But it just doesn't look that cool after the 7th time you've seen it. It gets old. And I think the thing that's missing from this film, I think what would have taken it from the strong B- that I think it is to the strong A- I think it could have been, some style, some flavor, some spice. In Suzume, you feel Makoto Shinkai's vision. You feel his inspiration and his influences and his passion. And the Batman, you feel Matt Reeves' appreciation for the character and appreciation for the world building. And Wakanda Forever, you feel Ryan Coogler's investment in the characters and the drama and everything they're going through. In Booksmart, you feel Olivia Wilde inserting that new energy, that freshness as a filmmaker and as a director. You feel that she has some new style that she wants to bring to the industry. In The Wolf of Wall Street, you feel Martin Scorsese's masterful filmmaking. That's how you know it's one of his films. You can also tell by the fact that there's no black people in it. Can you find the black people in this picture? Neither can I. Drew, what is your point? My point is, even though a lot of those Michael Bay Transformers movies are horrible, at least we know that they're Michael Bay movies, right? And I'm not just trying to make some crack about, his movies are always bad, so if it's a bad movie, it's a Michael Bay movie. No, I'm not even trying to do that. I actually did enjoy Ambulance from last year. I enjoyed Bad Boys 2 quite a bit. I like the first Transformers movie. I feel like Michael Bay is talented, and one of his talents is he does put a stamp on his films. And you do know when you're watching one of his films just by his style, just by his sense of camera work or his, ability to contain so much chaos, even if he doesn't sometimes. So subtracting Michael Bay from the equation, did we get an actually serviceable plot? Yeah. Did we get characters we actually kind of give a shit about? Well, sure. Did we get performances that actually felt like there was something written on the page for the characters instead of spitballed at them on set? Sure. But we also lost a bit of the individuality of the Transformers movies. Say what you will, at least they had a style. And at least they had a personality. Rise of the Beast is a decent film. I think it's a cool movie, and I think a lot of people should go see it. I'm just saying, for this franchise to keep going, we're gonna need a little bit more oomph. We're gonna need a little bit more fire in that flame, or it's gonna die out quickly. You know, it's all well and good that the studios are learning is all about IP and it's all about building a brand and having a universe and having a franchise. Yeah, that's cool and all. But I think audiences are also learning that we don't have as much patience as we might think we do. You know, we can have these Rotten Tomatoes scores for the audiences be high as hell, but if we keep getting Fast and Furious movies that feel the same, if we keep getting butchered attempts at the Dark Phoenix story from X-Men, if we keep getting mediocre superhero movies like Shazam, Black Adam, Ant-Man, and if we keep getting Disney remakes that feel like bastardized versions of the originals, at some point we're just gonna stop going to see them. I mean, yeah, the movies might not be the worst things you've ever seen in your life, but they don't really leave that much of an impression. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a Marvel circle jerk, but everyone complains about how the MCU films don't have a individual vision or you don't feel the director's stamp on the films. I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about, because Wakanda Forever felt like Ryan Coogler. Guardians felt like James Gunn. Love and Thunder, whether you liked it or not, felt like Taika Waititi. And look, I ain't saying that style is the end-all be-all of these films. I ain't saying that if you just add some flavor to the Transformers movies, they'll automatically be awesome. I'm just saying that I'm kind of tired of walking out of the sequels asking for the next one to have good story and good characters, and then not even really receiving that. So at the very least, could I get something that I could remember a week from now? Because I can feel this movie getting deleted out of my brain by the minute. And look, I don't want to be disingenuous. I know a lot of y'all love this shit. I know y'all love seeing robots beat each other up. I know you love seeing Optimus Prime voiced by Peter Cullen. I know you love that little spoiler at the end. I know you like that. I can't help but wonder,
do you not believe that it could be a little better than this?
because I think it's kind of telling that one of the best movies in this franchise is honestly just kind of mid. That's the best they can do? I don't think so. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I mean, I could go into more detail, you know, for a movie called Rise of the Beasts. I do wish there were more beasts. I'm kind of sick of Optimus Prime just kind of being the same character and everything. But it was nice to see the Transformers interact with each other. You know, it was nice to see them actually talk like actual people. And, you know, the action is cool occasionally. I just feel like these movies could be much better than they are. I might do a spoiler discussion because really the only things that I would want to go into detail about this movie with are spoilers. So I might do that. A bunch of people in the theater seemed really excited at the end. So, you know, I might go into more detail. I don't know. But as far as this video goes, the movie's fine. If you're looking forward to it and you want to see it, go ahead and see it. You probably already saw it. But if you're on the fence about it, just think about the other Transformers movies and go, do I want to sit through more of the same minus Michael Bay? And I think you'll have your answer. I'm going to get out of here. Y'all take it easy.